Hello, hello. All right. Come on, Instagram. There we go. All right. Hey, I'm here. It's late again, but that's okay. I did a lot today. Actually got a lot accomplished. And I wanted to talk today though about, the common trend today that I was seeing a lot of people talking about was, gaining momentum and being consistent and kind of refreshing themselves and starting to try to do stuff consistently for their business. And I started thinking about something. I have been an entrepreneur my pretty much my whole adult life. Now I've been an employee a couple of times. I make a terrible employee. I am not a good employee because I always, want to okay, if somebody owns a business, they have their own ideas about how the business should be run, but I'm always thinking about how to make it better. And, not all the owners really want to hear that. I just make a terrible employee, I just do. I don't know. I mean, I got my license to do hair. I was 20 when I got my license, and I started going to beauty school at 18. So, pretty much I worked for my dad. It's not really being an employee. I worked in a cafe for a while, and because when I went to beauty school, because it was a regular community college, um, you got the summers off because they didn't have school in the summertime. So I had to get a job during the summer. So I got this job at this local. We lived in the Bay Area at the time. I got this job at this local cafe in Alameda, and I think it was called the Coffee Shop, actually. Yeah, I wasn't a good employee. I was a klutz. I was constantly. I mean, I dumped soup on somebody's lap one time. It wasn't good. I would get so nervous and yeah, I couldn't carry the plates correctly. I was a klutz anyway. Not it just wasn't my thing. Being a waitress wasn't my thing. When I was younger and in high school, when I lived up in Northern California, I worked at a little like donut shop, and then they also served hamburgers and stuff like that. And man, I was always getting in trouble. I don't know. And I really wasn't like mouthy. I was pretty quiet and stuff. I mean, if you can believe that, I was. But I just didn't make a good employee. So I learned early on that I needed to be my own boss. I was pretty driven. I always had these ideas of, uh, for my business. So when I became a hairdresser, I pretty much worked for myself. I think I worked at a couple of commission salons. So you had to listen to the boss somewhat. But when you started renting your space and stuff, you kind of had your own little business going on. And, I did that for almost 40 years behind the chair. And of course, I owned my own salon so that I could make all the decisions. And I don't know, good and bad in that because it's a lot of work to own a salon and be behind the chair. And I really enjoyed the actual work. I didn't want to just be like the boss sat behind the desk and ordered everybody around. That was weird. No, I wanted to be in it. I wanted to actually do the work. I love the work. So I started thinking about the way that we show up when we work for ourselves. Are we a good boss? Well, and a good boss doesn't mean somebody that's like really wishy-washy and just lets you do whatever you want, come in late, leave early, um, file your nails at the desk. I don't know. There's just so many things that a boss isn't going to want you to do. If you're on an hourly thing, they want you to work. They want you to do stuff for them. So if you were your boss, would you hire yourself or would you be like, not quite sure about this one? Or would you fire yourself because you didn't get the work done? Because I mean, let's face it, a lot of times what we do when we work for ourselves is we sit there and we put off everything all day long. I mean, yeah, I'm guilty of it too. But there are certain things that you really need to do to think about to move your business forward. I mean, any business forward, you're gonna have to be consistent, and you're gonna have to have some self-discipline. So what does that look like? I mean, what does that look like on a daily? So you get up, come to work at the same time. I mean, a lot of people have day jobs too. And so this is just kind of a side gig for them being an entrepreneur, because eventually they want to get rid of that, day job where you're trading time for dollars. I get that, because that was the other thing. It didn't matter how hard you worked. When you worked for somebody, you still got paid the same. When you work for yourself, you work harder, you get paid more. And that to me was huge. It's like the harder I work, the more I get paid. Okay, you know what? Working for myself, that's pretty cool. I'm going to work harder. So I was always striving to work harder and do more to get to where I wanted to be. I had goals set, monetary goals, goals to just, get certain things done. When you own your own salon, you always have, there's always something that you have to do, or your own business. I don't mean salon, your own business. There's always something that you have to do. There's always, something in the back end or bookkeeping or whatever it is that you have to do. And if we treated ourselves like we were our own boss, what would we say to ourselves every day? Would you greet yourself and just say, hey, you know what? Today's going to be a great day. We're going to get this, and that done. I got my list here. I'm going to go for it. This is what I have carved out for the day, and this is what I want to get done. Or are we going to be like, ugh, I just don't feel like doing it today. I'll just do it tomorrow. And then what happens? Yeah. What happens after a couple of hours or after a day or two of that? Then pretty soon you've kind of got that habit going on, and you're not getting things done, and you keep putting stuff off, and you're making excuses for it too, because it was always somebody else's fault, or it was always something else that happened. And I mean, I'm guilty of it too, but for the most part, if we thought and we treated our entrepreneurial business like we were the boss of the business for ourselves, we were our own boss, just think about what that would look like. What would you tell your employee, yourself, to do every day to move toward that goal? Now that kind of opens up a lot right there, because if you think about it, you could set up a plan for your employee, which is you, a plan to move forward and get what it is that you need done for whatever project that you're working on or whatever goal that you're working toward. As a boss, wouldn't you set your employee up with that? Right? So I was thinking all day today about this, it's like, yeah, you know what? I could do this. Just build out a plan for my next project. I got this project I'm working on. Build out a plan and start implementing that plan like I was giving my own employee the goods, the blueprint, the whatever it is, the outline to this plan, and giving them daily objectives to move toward, to get done every single day. What do I want you to get done today? Okay, you're going to come in this morning and you're my employee, me, and I want you to do XYZ and have that done by the end of the day. Now, don't overdo it with yourself. I mean, let's face it. If you just give yourself one thing that you have to accomplish or finish that day, I think that's huge. Because, I mean, think about it. If you were your own employee, you're not going to nobody's going to give you as an employee 20 things to do in a day and expect it to be done. It's just not possible. We do that to ourselves all the time. We're all scattered all over the place. Why don't you just give yourself one thing that you want to have accomplished at the end of the day? Can you imagine that snowball effect after 5 days of that. So say your workday is only 1 day a week. So that snowball effect could have a huge impact on your business. And so that's what I'm going to start doing. So tomorrow, I mean, I always make my list up at the end of the night, even if it's sometimes if it's 3 things, sometimes it's 10 things. That's a little too much, but some of the things are just little things that I need to get done. But I always try to put some of the non-negotiables in there, like get up and move your body. Because that's something, if I don't write it down and look at it, I'm like, oh, that's right. I really need to get up and stretch and, do a little exercising, get up and do it. I can check that off. So that's a little thing. But I mean like one project a day, say it's an email sequence or it's 5 contacts that you wanted to make, or you got your email cleanup that you wanted to do and you didn't do it like for 2 weeks. So you really got to get that inbox cleaned out. Whatever it is, do one thing a day and just keep telling yourself that you are the boss and the employee. You're the boss and the employee. So be a good boss. Be a leader boss. Don't be a wishy-washy boss and let yourself get away with everything. Because think about it. If we just kept letting our employee get away with everything and we're still paying them, well, how resentful would you be? So that's what happens to us is we start making excuses as to why our business isn't doing well. And it's always, it's either the economy or it's, the weather, or it's always something. But let's face it, any business can survive through anything. I remember being a hairdresser. I always go back to this because that was so much a part of my life and that's what I knew. And I remember people always used to complain that right after the holidays, it was slow. You know what? I was never slow. And one of the reasons that I was never slow is that I always pre-booked. And I know there's a lot of controversy these days over pre-booking, but I always pre-booked my clients so that I knew that I had business after the first of the year. I didn't want to be sitting around waiting for business. I was well into my career. There's no way that I didn't want to have that income coming in. And I was always busy in January, always. So January, February, March, April, the only time that I remember that it really started to hit was around, was it 08, 09 when we had that big housing thing going on? There was some time during tax time, April, that something happened and it was a little slow because people were scared. They were scared to spend money. And that's the only time that I really remember it being bad. But other than that, I was always moving toward constantly being busy. And I just didn't want to blame it on the economy or whatever. So you can still figure out different ways to make money during economy crashes or recessions or whatever. People still do it. They still make a living. We still got to eat, get our hair done, whatever. And a lot of times people were stretching it out, but you know what? It just gave you an opportunity to fill more spaces in your daily schedule. So like I said, you can make excuses, but there's always something out there that can fill that void that you can build momentum on. And just think, you're your own boss and you're also the employee. So if you have this employee that you want to keep busy and it's kind of a tough time, let's think about what we can do to create an income to cover our expenses to keep the employee going. So let's be creative. Let's, they say think outside the box. It's kind of old cliche, but I'm telling you, there's stuff out there and it's blowing my mind the more I think about different things, it's like, you know what? This could work. I don't know if my next project is going to work or not, but I'm going to try. I'm not just try, I'm going to implement it and give it a go, because what if it does work? What if it works really well? I'm not going to be like the, well, what if it doesn't work? Well, what if it takes too long? What if it does this? What if it does that? No, I'm not even going there. So I think everybody should do the same thing. Pretend like you are the boss and the employee. And what do you think? What do you think? What do you think about that? What are your goals? Now, that's the other thing about goals. It's like we were talking in one of the calls that I was on today about goals, and people, you always think of long-term goals. Why don't you just make a goal, a 24-hour goal? So tomorrow, the goal is to get that one little project done. That's a goal. So don't make it so ominous that it just seems so hard to reach, because you make little goals each day and accomplish them. That will give you confidence and help you move toward the next goal and the next goal. And pretty soon they're bigger goals and you've accomplished a lot. I mean, think about that. It's like the momentum. It's like the snowball rolling down the hill. It gets that momentum going, and it keeps going and going and going. And the more it rolls down, the bigger it gets. So just think about everything that you can grab going down. Just get that momentum going, because I think that that's what gets us stuck a lot of times, is these goals are so huge. We don't really know how to do it. We don't know how to get there. We make this huge goal for the end of the year, and you just feel stuck. You feel like, I just don't even know which foot to put forward first, like doing a little dance or whatever. So make that one goal every single day. And the other thing is kind of a routine. I've been really working on that routine, because the more that you set up that routine that's like the same every day, like the brushing of the teeth and that kind of stuff, it's always the same every day for me. It's always the same. So if you get to where you're actually doing the same thing every day, getting up at the same time, like you have a real job. This is the only job I have. So I don't go outside for a job. I don't have a boss or anything. I have myself as boss. But so I need to build that routine for myself. When you work for somebody else, it's almost like you're forced to, because you have to be at work at 8:00 or whatever. So that your routine has to be the same. Well, why can't it be the same for your entrepreneurial job, even if it's your side hustle job? So give yourself the days that you're going to work and how many hours you're going to work, and block that out and figure out what it's going to take to get that one project done. I think that's a good plan. What do you think? Let me know. Let me know what you think. And if you have any other ideas, drop them in the comments. Let me know what you think. Also, remember, check out my new digital business. And that's the other thing. I have this branding workbook. I talked about it yesterday, but you guys, if you want a copy of it, it's free. You gotta check it out. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. In fact, I might show you guys mine in my little notes and stuff one of these days on a live or something. Anyway, have a great evening. What's left of it. I'll be going to bed soon. I have a project that I'm finishing up today. So as soon as that's done, I'm off to bed. But I will see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow is Thursday. And there's some stuff going on tomorrow, some fun stuff. So let's see what happens. Get that project done. Tell me what that project is for you guys. Don't make it a huge project. If it's a big project, make it a piece of that project. Because otherwise, if you don't accomplish it every day, that's really going to break down your psyche. It really works against what you're trying to accomplish. Mindset is huge. They talk about that all the time, but it's just setting yourself up for success and not failure. Set yourself up for success. Give yourself a job that you know you can get done if you work it in that time frame that you are allotted and get it done. It's just going to do so much for your confidence. All right. Well, I will see you guys tomorrow. Love you all. Thank you so much for letting me go on, and see you tomorrow. Bye.